I remember the first flicker of unease like it was a physical ache in my chest. We were at Jenna's engagement party, a room crowded with laughter, clinking glasses, and soft music. But I felt invisible, like I was watching life through a pane of glass. My wife, Mara, moved across the room, her smile wide, her laugh effortless. I tried to shake off the feeling, blaming it on nerves or exhaustion. But then she came up to me, leaned close, and whispered, "I'm back with him." For a heartbeat, I froze. My mind scrambled. "Him?" I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper. She nodded, eyes sparkling with mischief. Or was it triumph? My stomach nodded. I forced a smile, calm, deliberate. "Okay," I said softly, stepping back to let her go, my throat tight, words tasting like ash. The days before had been subtle warnings, but I didn't see them. Missed calls from her that I chalked up to work. Oddly guarded glances at her phone. Messages I thought were routine, but now seemed coded, secret. I remember one night, the faint ping of a text while she pretended to be asleep. I froze, telling myself I was imagining things, but the weight of suspicion had settled, like a stone in my gut. The tipping point came later that evening. I was sitting on the balcony, pretending to check a message, when her phone lit up. A simple, "Can't wait to see you later, Red Heart." It wasn't meant for me. My heart sank. The haze of confusion, anger, and heartbreak hit like a freight train. Every memory, the weekend trips we took, the quiet Sunday mornings, the late-night talks, suddenly felt like scenes in someone else's story, staged and hollow. I confronted her gently at first, hoping for a misunderstanding, some innocent explanation, but her eyes were too steady, too unflinching. "It's him, really. I'm sorry," she said. No shame, no hesitation. Just a confession delivered with a casual grace that made my blood boil and my chest ache. I could have erupted, screamed, demanded answers, but instead I breathed. I let the silence stretch. I let the room, the music, the laughter, the unknowing faces, press down on me while I stood there calm, collecting the pieces of my shattered trust. It was in that quiet moment that I realized something important. The fury, the heartbreak, the betrayal, they were hers to carry. I didn't need to feed the fire. I didn't need to give her the satisfaction of watching me unravel. So I did the only thing I could do that felt like strength. I smiled softly and said, "I hope it makes you happy." Her hand trembled as she reached for mine, and for a fleeting second, I thought maybe she would beg, explain, or retreat. But she didn't. She walked away, leaving me with the cool night air and a heart heavy with grief. Over the next weeks, the subtle betrayals became stark, undeniable. I found messages, pictures, evidence she hadn't hidden well enough for my absence. Every discovery stung, but also clarified something vital. I deserved honesty, respect, and love that wasn't fractured or borrowed. I spent long nights thinking, replaying every moment, every choice, every word that had led us here. And slowly, the anger transformed, not into forgiveness, not yet, but into clarity and self-respect. I remember the first time we met, her laugh echoing across the coffee shop, the way her eyes seemed to catch sunlight in a room dim with ordinary. I cherished those memories, but now they existed in a different light. Bittersweet, yes, but also illuminating. They reminded me that the person I loved hadn't been the one standing beside me these past months. The turning point wasn't dramatic. There were no shouting matches or public humiliation. It was quieter, personal. I packed my things one morning while she was gone, leaving a note on the kitchen counter. "I hope you find what you're looking for." I know I found mine. It wasn't cruelty. It was dignity, a reclaiming of myself that had been lost in the fog of betrayal. When she returned, there was a brief moment of recognition in her eyes. Surprise, maybe regret, but I didn't meet it. I didn't argue, didn't plead. I only nodded and walked past her, feeling the weight of freedom settle over my shoulders. The calm I had maintained at the party, the restraint I had practiced, had become my armor. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about reclaiming my life, my heart, my peace. In the weeks that followed, I allowed myself to grieve, to mourn the love that had been, and to marvel at the resilience I had discovered. I learned that betrayal could be devastating, But it could also be clarifying. The heartbreak didn't disappear, but became tempered with a quiet strength that refused to be broken again. And now, when I look back, I don't feel rage. I feel the calm of someone who has survived a storm and emerged whole, tempered, and wiser. I've learned to treasure honesty, to demand respect, and to carry my dignity like a shield. The party, her confession, the pain, it all led me here, to a place of quiet power and self-respect that no one can take away.